get it. He
Didn't
better
you tell
get
me
it.
he got it, or?
I don't know if I'm supposed to say.
What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back with another bodybuilding news video. And let's kick it off with Quinton Eriya. Some updates from him that he posted and said these were a few weeks ago. Looking very damn impressive. I believe Quinton is preparing for that 2024 New York Pro. He sort of let something slip on one of the podcasts he was on, but he hasn't sort of mentioned it since, wanting to keep it under wraps. And I think he said that Matt thinks that's the best advice, but just say he's prepping for the New York or a show somewhere around there. He's looking about on target for that. Now, this is from a few weeks ago, but this one here is a recent update. This was posted up on the story of Matt Jansen, his coach for this 2024 contest season. And I asked Matt, is this a new update? And he said yes. So Quinton Eriya, this is his current physique, and it looks incredible. That front double bicep is, even though it was really good before, it's way more complete now. The waist is tiny. He said he was sort of concerned about that in his off-season, staying in an off-season for so long, if his waist would come back. It's come back and then some, and it actually looks smaller than before because the rest of his physique has gotten bigger. Now, I believe this muscle is going to be more, I suppose, solidified on his body. When someone seems to hold their off-season weight for a little bit longer in terms of that muscle mass staying on physique, it tends to be when they diet down, the muscle stays a lot harder, a lot denser, and it just looks a lot more mature on the physique. And I think we're going to see that from Quinton this year. That was one thing when he dieted down. The same thing that used to happen with Samson Dauda. He seemed to just maybe just flatten a little bit and didn't have that same pop to the muscle. I think this year Quinton Eriya is going to have that, and I'm super impressed by these updates. Now, our next physique update comes courtesy of Martin Fitzwater as he prepares for that Detroit Pro, the New York Pro, and maybe some other shows as well. And Martin is looking next level. This is posted on the story of Brett the Butcher Wilkin, who he's out there training with in Florida in preparation for that Detroit Pro. And it's really cool to see it go full circle. These guys were training together to, I believe, get their pro cards or early in their pro careers out there in Denver, Colorado in Armburst Pro Gym, which is obviously the home gym of Phil Heath and some other famous bodybuilders as well. And it's cool to see him now in Florida years later training together once again, and Martin is looking ridiculous. Now, this update is really shocking me because I've seen updates of Martin definitely more than's been posted out there before. And this is by far the freakiest I've ever seen Martin Fitzwater. There's a certain level of muscularity to his physique. He has more muscle maturity than the average guy his age in his 20s. And the thickness that's come onto his physique, that upper body, whatever he's doing, working now with Stefan, boss of Outlaw, who prepped obviously Wesley Vissers, Nathan Diasha, all those guys. It's worked for them, and it seems like it's definitely working for Martin Fitzwater, and I am super excited for his 2024. And I've said this in the past, but even more so now after this update, because it really did shock me, to be honest with you guys. Let me know what you think of Martin's potential for the 2024 contest season. Could this be a guy that's right up there in the Olympia? Could he be pushing for a top 6 spot? I think he potentially could be, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, Tonio Burton, he posted up this update and confirmed that he's doing the Brazil Arnold South America contest, which is 3-4 weeks from now. So that's super exciting news because he was obviously going into that New York Pro. That was going to be a very, very tough show to actually qualify at with Nick Walker, obviously all these other guys that are planning to do that show, Carlos Thomas Jr., Quinton Eriya most likely, a whole bunch of guys that are jumping into that contest, Martin Fitzwater. So it's going to be a deep show and very, very hard to qualify for the 2024 Mr. Olympia, even though this guy is a top 8 bodybuilder in the world. And in the comments, Nick Walker and Tonio Burton have been having a fun back and forth. They say they're friends. Nick said, "Did you flex or no?" Then Tonio replied, "You know that third made you fall back. Just wait though, it get better." So anyway, good fun between two guys, and I don't think they're taking that too serious, but it's a good back and forth. But Tonio's looking very damn impressive, and if he can bring his best, it's going to make it some sort of a contest, but I still don't think it'll be enough to get over top of Nick Walker. Now we're going to update from Goodvito, who's coming up to compete in some contests very, very soon. This is a 4-week out update about Arnold Classic South America, where he's going to be up against Tonio Burton, Rafael Brandao, who we've got an update from in just a moment as well. And Goodvito looks to be in great shape here, working with Chris Aceto. This photo probably looks like the best all-time condition I've seen from him, but like I said, trusting Goodvito's pre-contest photos, maybe might not be the best idea. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think Goodvito will deliver something like we see on Instagram, or do you think he will fall short in his pro debut? Now, one of the men that I mentioned that we'll be seeing him up against is Rafael Brandao, who I believe will win this 2024 Arnold Classic Brazil. But obviously with Tonio in the lineup, a top 8 Mr. Olympia competitor, that is definitely no sure thing. And if Tonio can outcondition Rafael, it's going to be very, very interesting on stage. But I got to see these photos side by sides of Goodvito, some previous prep update photos with Rafael Brandao. And you sort of see the photos and you go, wow, Goodvito's bigger. I've got to say, this is not to scale. Look at the calf difference. Like, they're not that much difference in size. So not perfectly to scale. And I think Rafael, you can see the difference in that most muscular, like how his delts pop out compared to Goodvito's. Now Rafael's in better condition. The delts are a standout body part. And then you go, well, Goodvito looks bigger. But in reality, these aren't scaled 100% correctly, I don't think. But regardless, Goodvito is going to be very, very impressive for a young guy in his pro debut. And the footage you're seeing now is current training footage of Rafael as he prepares for that 2024 Arnold Classic in Brazil 4 weeks out. Now, in our next story, Samson Dauda has spoken out. He was on the Fuad Abiad channel speaking to AJ Kelly Roberts and had a few interesting things to say. But I wanted to play this first from a video I did yesterday about Fuad Abiad speaking about Samson's next potential coach. And I'll tell you why just after.
Yeah, I have someone in my head for it, but I don't know if you want me to say it.
Say it. Who cares? We don't know.
Well, because you told me that,
He's talked to a bunch of people, so I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know who's going with.
So Fuad saying that Samson's talked to a bunch of people. Now, I want to show you this clip from the interview with Samson Dauda on Fuad Abiad's channel.
People say, I heard this and that and this, meaning you haven't talked to any coach about anything. People obviously contacted you, but you haven't answered or kept it. So there's no way people can have a rumor about this and this coach because you haven't even reached out to anyone, correct?
I mean, with me, I've always been straight talking. I don't like drama. I don't like rumors. I don't like hearsay. If anything ever comes out about me, I will literally address it straight right there on the spot myself. I don't do what they call diva noise. I keep it straight out because I like my life very straightforward and very simple and drama free. So if someone is saying, oh, they heard this and hearsay that, I feel like cracking up laughing because I'm like, well, you've heard it more before I did. You know more than I do.
It's funny, I've actually heard this with other pros as well, from Brandon Curry, a whole bunch of other guys. They're like, oh, I heard this about me. And that they're literally just laughing about it. But the funny thing that was said is, Fuad said, Samson's talked to plenty of coaches. And then AJ says, you haven't talked to anyone. And then Samson agrees with that. So there's obviously two conflicting stories there as well. Now, AJ did mention that people have reached out to Samson. So that might just be what Fuad Abiad means, as in, he's replied to these coaches that have reached out. He might not just be ignoring them, which is completely fine. And Samson has the right to speak to anyone. It's not like, Samson does mention it's like a breakup and things like that, and he wants to be respectful. And Samson is that guy. He is such a respectful guy. He's so courteous. But Samson also has to remember this is his career, so he has every right to speak to whoever he wants. But his morals and his standards are his standards. But this is, I suppose, why when you say Fuad said Samson's talked to a lot of people, when Samson says I haven't spoken to anyone, that's the reason why some of these rumors, I guess, start. And if Samson has spoken to someone and saying, look, I don't want to say I'm speaking to some people because, I want to be respectful of Milos, then that still shows Samson's character, and it's definitely a character trait of his. Now, Milos Sarcev just appeared on the Cutler Cast with Jay Cutler and Manager Matt, and he spoke about the split with Samson Dauda, and here's what he had to say.
If Samson finally listens to everybody, it's not just a noise, but every expert was constantly saying, bring more condition. And that goes on me. As a coach, I failed to bring him in a better condition. So that's the fact. So he would have to listen and suffer because we know what it takes to get Hadi Choopan conditioning. You did 2-3 hours of cardio when needed. Mm-hmm. I heard that Hadi was doing 3 hours of cardio.
So a few things to cover there. So Milos mentions about, if Samson listens. So I don't know if Samson was doing 100% of everything of what Milos was advising him to do. Now, Milos definitely did have him suffering through the prep, and Samson was suffering. You can see it in his videos. You can see it in his complete demeanor. He is really struggling, but he's gone prep to prep to prep to prep. And while Milos likes to have his guys compete a lot, I think at some point it becomes detrimental to the physique. A physique eventually needs a break. It's not just a thing that can just push, 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 especially for a guy that doesn't get in condition easily. Now, this may be a different thing for someone like Roman Fritz, who walks around with shredded glutes, because really his preps are very, very short and his body's comfortable staying lean, or at least it has to be. But Samson Dauda doesn't have that sort of physique. So for him to compete as much as he has, I take my hat off to him, because it's an incredible feat. Now, he also mentions about Hadi, Hadi doing 3 hours of cardio for his prep for the Arnold Classic. That's absolute insanity. 3 hours is huge. I don't think any bodybuilder or anyone would go over 3 hours of cardio. I've never gone close to it when I'm doing like an hour a day or an hour and 15. You really start to feel that. So 3 hours, I can't even imagine with training on top. That's like 5 hours a day. I don't know many people that can really handle that amount, and maybe that's part of it as well. And Samson knows in himself, if I push to that level, I'm not going to make it through this prep. And it might just be the fact that he can push to that level, but he needs a rest first, because going from an Olympia prep to an Arnold prep, and then having a short break, and then going to an Olympia prep, and then an Arnold prep, or maybe even shows in between, that's rough on the body. So shout out to him, and also shout out to Milos for saying he failed on that. That's a fact. It takes a lot, and that really shows the character of a man to be able to say, look, I failed there. Whether Samson followed everything 100%, I have no clue. Samson, I think, is one of those guys, you tell him to do something and he'll probably do it, because he's definitely a hard worker. There's no doubt about that. So anyway, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But let's get on to Hadi Choopan and his visa. Is he getting into the UK for the 2024 Arnold Classic? I heard this on the latest Cutler Cast, which may reveal the answer.
Now he's got his visa for UK, right? So
I don't know. I think that was a matter of getting it today, right? If he gets a visa or not.
I think so.
Monday. I mean, it's already Monday evening, so it's Tuesday.
I would assume he'd be on the way there.
Tuesday morning in the UK. So if he didn't get it, he
didn't
better
you tell
get
me
it.
he got it, or
I don't know if I'm supposed to say.
Okay, yeah. What I heard is like he's supposed to get it today.
So that one's on Jay. So Matt says, I don't know if I was supposed to say, so it's just something in conversation that came up. And then it came out on the podcast that apparently he already has his visa. Now, Milos did mention this was a Monday evening. So where are we at now? It is right now in America, Wednesday evening. So this was recorded about 48 hours ago. And Manager Matt, like he said, I'd think he'd be on his way there now. Now, we saw stories on Hani Rambod and Hadi Choopan's stories of him looking like he's still in the US in the gym there. So if he's making a trip out to the Arnold Classic UK, he's either doing it right now as I record this video, he's already got there and it's going to be some sort of a surprise, or I don't know. It strikes me as very, very weird, and they're leaving it to the very last minute, because right now in Australia and in the UK, it is very early hours of Thursday morning, and we have no news that Hadi Choopan is in the UK to compete in the 2024 Arnold Classic UK. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Those guys were assuming that visa was ticked. He's all good. He's going to make it to the 2024 Arnold Classic UK. But we haven't seen anything to confirm this on Thursday UK time. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. If you did enjoy this video, give the video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe. As well, I want to mention, this weekend, I will be going live for the Arnold Classic UK. I'm going to have post-show stuff, all that good stuff. So make sure you subscribe, click the notification bell button. That way, be notified of all my 2024 Arnold Classic UK coverage. So that's it for me. My name's Xavier Wills. This is Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are out.